When the beat drops, you know exactly what time it is. Hello and welcome to the season finale of the Blitz. Unless I see Jason Light drunk on the Hillsborough River somewhere, this episode is always the saddest of the season.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? We aren't saying goodbye. It's just see you later or whatever cliche you like to say there.
Yeah,
Look,
something like that.
We know Bucs fans were hoping for a longer run. We certainly were, but the focus moves to 2025 immediately. We'll discuss some of the biggest takeaways from this past year, what the free agency situation looks like, the key moves the team needs to make to be a Super Bowl contender, and we're going to rank our top 5 moments from 2024.
All right, so let's get started. This is the 10 and 10, the 10 most important storylines you need to know before we enter the offseason, and 10 stands for the amount of wins this team had. They've now gone up by 1 in that category every season under Todd Bowles. It was the franchise's 5th straight playoff appearance and 4th straight divisional crown. The squad lost 8 total games. 6 were decided by less than a touchdown, and 4, David, were in walk-off fashion.
Yep, just like that one in Atlanta. At number 9, turnovers were arguably the biggest problem for this team. This was the first time since 2018, so before Todd Bowles was in town, that the Bucs recorded less than 20 takeaways in a season. As for the offense, the Bucs gave the ball away 24 times this year, and while they only lost 8 fumbles, they still let the ball hit the ground 27 times during the season. Of course, the worst of them all happened in the playoffs just a week ago against Washington. The Jets sweep. This is a day 1 install, man. It's silly mistakes like this that just burn the Bucs all year, Evan.
Yeah, you're right, David. The execution issues, they were lasting all year. Probably not good enough in Liam Cohen's first year as offensive coordinator. Lots of turnovers, a team that ranked in the top 10 in holding and false start penalties. Having said that, though, the only complaint I can think of with this man were the turnovers, were those execution issues, because this was a home run hire by the Buccaneers. At number 8, where do I even begin? The Bucs offense ranked 4th in the NFL, totaling nearly 30 points per game. It was a 9-point increase from 2023. They were also the only team in the league to rank top 5 in passing and rushing yards. Baker Mayfield totaled 4,500 yards with 41 touchdowns. 7 different players had more than 300 receiving yards, so he was able to adjust on the fly. It was one of the best offenses in franchise history, and with Liam Cohen, a head coaching candidate, everyone in Bucs Nation just hoping he comes back in 2025.
We love Liam, and what he's done with this year with us is awesome, and to be able to get another opportunity with him to improve and, you know, sort of take an off season to reflect and see where we can improve, I think would be awesome, and I'd love that opportunity to work with him again.
At number 7, this also ties in Liam Cohen. What a turnaround for this rushing attack. In back-to-back years, Evan, the Bucs had the worst rushing offense in the league by far. Then all of a sudden, it catapults into the top 5, having its first 1,000-yard rusher since Doug Martin in 2015. Now, lower your hopes. Bucky Irving will not win Rookie of the Year over Jaden Daniels, but he will certainly get some votes after averaging 5.4 yards per carry. The only guys ahead of him with more than 200 carries were Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and Jahmyr Gibbs. All those guys are in the playoffs.
That's decent company to be in.
It sure is. Now, with everyone gushing over Liam Cohen, many fans want Todd Bowles fired to make sure Cohen does not go anywhere. Evan, I know you got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, so if it's an either-or situation, I totally get where the fans are coming from, because Todd, he's 61 years old. Liam is about to turn 40. So the future is with Liam in that regard. The only thing I want to say to fans is don't bury Todd Bowles because you're pro Liam Cohen. In 2022, Todd did not get his chance to choose his coaching staff. In 2023, the Bucs ranked number 1 in dead money on the salary cap with $80+ million. In 2024, his starting defense didn't even play a full quarter together, let alone 1 game. Bowles needs help with in-game management, and he might need to bring in a new mind or two to keep his defensive schemes and structure fresh. So Bowles is not perfect, but man, some of y'all fans are going way too far on the Bowles hatred, and I think it's because you're too fearful that Liam's going to leave.
Yeah, so I have one nugget. Only 3 active head coaches have won their division 3 straight years. Sean McDermott, Andy Reid, and guess what? Todd Bowles.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I don't care what division you're in. Doing that is hard.
It is hard. Look, whatever side you're on, just keep the same energy.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
At number 6, David, let's talk about the injuries this season. Let's put this in perspective. 12 guys on the initial 53-man roster landed on the injured reserve. Another 11 guys missed multiple games. When you factor in some players who were cut or waived, this team needed to trudge through the season, shuffling almost half of its roster. No player or coach will use it as an excuse, but it's a valid excuse this season. It was terrible injury luck.
Yeah, luckily at number 5, Evan, this rookie class was amazing. We already spoke about 4th-round pick Bucky Irving, but Graham Barton at center looks like a future Pro Bowler. Tyke Smith had 2 picks, 3 forced fumbles, and 54 tackles. Bose said teams started throwing away from him. Jalen McMillan, 7 touchdowns in his final 5 regular season games. 7th-rounder Devin Culp was clutch while filling in for Cade Otton. So then you factor in Chris Braswell on defense. The future is bright in Tampa Bay. At number 4, let's turn our attention to free agents. Chris Godwin and Levante David lead the list. Godwin was en route towards an all-pro season before getting hurt. Also, Levante is on the Rondé Barber taking it a year-by-year plan. Another notable name, Ben Bredesen. We also have Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Anthony Nelson, and Greg Gaines. All in all, Jason Light has a bit of an easier time this year versus the situation they were in last offseason.
Yeah, that's for sure. At number 3, the work is not done, David, because as the team emerges out of the salary cap issue stemming from the Tom Brady years, the team will have a bit more money to potentially saddle up for free agents elsewhere or even acquire a stud from another team. So let's bring in James Yarko and that ugly Notre Dame hat for our Locked On Bucs burning question of the week. Go Buckeyes, by the way. James, do you think Tampa Bay could be a Super Bowl contender next year?
I definitely think they can be Super Bowl contenders, but that hinges on a couple of things. First and foremost, is Liam Cohen coming back? I think it's going to be imperative that he returns. Another question is whether or not Chris Godwin will be back. Think of how much better the offense could have been. And then finally, the defense has to improve. You take a look up and down that side of the ball, and there's a lot of positions that need to be filled. They need to address the edge rusher because Yaya Diaby didn't quite live up to the hype, but then again, he didn't really have much help. You have inside linebacker, whether or not Levante David is going to come back, but then you need someone next to him. And then you take a look at the corners, Zion McCollum coming off of a really good year, but Jamel Dean has a lot of money coming his way and he cannot stay on the field. I would expect the Bucs to move on from that contract and address cornerback in the draft and in free agency. But you address corner, you address linebacker, you bring in a top tier edge rusher, and this team answers a lot of the questions that they left in 2024 and are certainly in the conversation to compete for a Super Bowl in 2025.
Thank you so much, James, for the help all year long. We really appreciate you, man. At number 2, here are some dates you want to circle on your calendar. The Scouting Combine starts February 24th. Free agency begins March 12th. Day 1 of the NFL Draft is April 24th. Early to mid-June will be mandatory minicamp with training camp starting somewhere around the end of July.
At number 1, we rank our top 5 moments of the year. And at number 5, Baker Mayfield stiff-arming Nick Bosa on 4th down with the game on the line was one of the craziest plays all season from the Bucs, David.
It was. This is a play that describes Baker Mayfield to a T, an absolute dog. Sadly, the Bucs lost in walk-off fashion, so the play was for naught. But still, remarkable effort.
Next on the list for us is that win in Detroit Week 2. The Bucs head on the road to play the Lions, seek revenge for that postseason loss the season before.
The defense put Jared Goff in a blender as the Lions went 1 for 7 in the red zone. Detroit only lost 2 games in the regular season. This was one of them. This has to be the best win on Todd Bowles' resume with the Bucs.
1,000%. Let's keep it going with the division on the line, trailing the Saints at home. Baker Mayfield not only throws a dot on 4th and 8 to Jalen McMillan, but 2 plays later throws another gem to McMillan on a rope in the end zone.
Yeah, this touchdown throw was insane. On the run, off balance, 30-plus yards down the field, toe tap right there. The Bucs took the lead early in the 4th quarter against the Saints, and they never looked back. They picked up hats and T-shirts that day.
Next up, shout out to our guy Anthony Nelson. He saved the season in Carolina. All the Panthers had to do was kick a field goal to win the game in overtime. Chuba Hubbard was fighting for some extra yards, and Nelly forced a fumble.
Yeah, that was a huge weekend for him. Welcome to baby boy as well. It reminds me of that Andy Reid quote, when it's looking grim, be the Grim Reaper. With a loss that day, the Bucs would have needed to go 5-0 down the stretch to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that saved the season. And at number 1, for number 1, it's, of course, Mike Evans reaching 1,000 yards. This will go down as one of the greatest moments in Raymond James Stadium history.
Despite missing 3 games, he still tied Jerry Rice's record with 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. The all-time record is 14 seasons, so that is what Evans will try to get to as he enters the final chapters of his career. All right, let's head into the all-out blitz for one final time as we finish up. We only got one game on this Sunday, and it's a doozy. Buffalo hosting Baltimore at 6:30. One of these MVP candidates, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, the season ends for one of them boys. Checking out our Blitz picks records. I finished 12-5. That 5 kind of gets on my nerves, but you know what? Evan was 10-7, just like the Bucs. So Evan and I have squared off 3 times, and I have now won twice.
Hey, look, congrats to you. Last year I got it. Year before that, we're alternating. So next year is my year. I'll enter that with a chip on my shoulder, just like Todd Bowles said this team will do next season as well. Now let's check in on our season predictions before week 1. I'm going 9-8. Yes, it's the same as last year, but they also have a much harder schedule this year than last year as well. So I'm baking that in. I have them as a wild card team. Maybe they win that first round, maybe they don't.
So I also have them going 9-8 this season. I think it's just the safest thing to do because they have a first place schedule. But I do believe their ceiling is 11 wins, so I wouldn't be surprised if they hit that double-digit win total. They should be in the playoffs, and I have a weird feeling that they're going to run into a divisional foe in the postseason.
I'm going to give us a good pat on the back for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we could really predict everything 100%, we wouldn't be doing this. We would be billionaires betting on everything happening before it happens. So with that being said, give me your Super Bowl prediction if you got one.
I'm going Chiefs beating the Lions. I just think 3-peat. It's been in the works. Even though the Chiefs haven't been great this season, I think they figure it out.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm not going with 3-peat. I'm actually going to take the Ravens over the Lions. I think Lamar is going to finally fulfill that promise he made on draft night in front of the world.
So we got Lamar.
Yes.
And then Kendrick Lamar, same night.
Oh, my gosh, Drake, hide.
Well, that does it for season 4 of The Blitz. We'll be back with you in the end of August to do it all over again. Thank you to everyone on our production team who helps us weekly with this show. Sam, Emily, Eric. Could not do it without you all. Also, Tim, Courtney, Dean. I think we had Dave Wagner run prompter for us one week. So last but not least, this guy right here, David Shealy. It's been an honor, my sir. And for the last time, let's send it out. This is David Shealy. I am Evan Klosky. This is The Blitz. We will see you next season, everybody. Thank you so much.